Rachel Mars. I hope everyone's got their courageous water. Just hang on to that and let it do its thing. And we'll come back to that at the end. So I am about to do a presentation. It's in the form of a pecha kucha, which means there are 20 slides, and each slide lasts for 20 seconds. So once we start, that's it. We just have to go all the way through to the end. So maybe if we just have a breathe in all together. Tropical, and out. Everyone ready? Yeah. Great. Yeah. So I've been looking for my hero. A hero is the person who does the thing that you hope you would do in the same situation. A hero is the person who runs after, who jumps onto, who wrestles to the ground. The person who dedicates years to and never complains about and won't stop until. My dad has always been very clear about what a hero isn't. For him, a hero is not some bloody adventurer that goes round the world in just a pair of roller skates and a massive trust fund. Because then I find my dad screaming at the television, "So you skated around the world, who gives a shit? Why do I have to watch you on Newsnight? What good have you ever done for humankind?" This is Gertrude Ederle. She was 19 in 1926, and she became the first woman to swim the English Channel. And I got very excited when I found out about her because she was a woman and she was single-minded, and she was a German immigrant to the States, the same way that my grandma was to here. And with that surname, I decided that she must be Jewish. She was like my perfect hero. Now, the Jews, we haven't had a traditionally very good relationship with water. In fact, when I saw that yachtsman Tony Bullimore was on the Wikipedia list of world-famous Jews, that's when I realised that Wikipedia wasn't a totally reliable resource. And the last time we were going to have to do a big swim, we just got a guy in to divide the water so we wouldn't have to get all soggy. Right, Gertrude didn't have a traditional hero start, as she was in fact afraid of water, but her father taught her not to be by making her immerse her face into bowls of water for long periods of time. And then to get her to learn to swim, he tied a rope around her middle and threw her into the local lake, and she learned really quickly. And then she began to win medals internationally. Now, her father and her came up with a plan to get her to swim across the channel. Her father and her pooled resources because he was a butcher and she brought her talent at swimming. He brought his knowledge of fats. So to coat her skin against the cold of the water, they used olive oil, then that's lanolin, then Vaseline and lard. It took 3 hours to get off with gasoline. She was also quite sort of superstitious, and she took to writing the word courage on the water that she drank during training, as she believed it would sort of be imbued with this kind of quality, and then she'd be filled with strength from the inside out, which is a sort of strange foreshadowing of the work of this Japanese scientist called Dr. Masaru Emoto, because I never get to finish that. You can look it up later. This is the route that swimmers take. It's from Cap Grinet in France to Kingsdown in Kent, and it's 20 miles long if you just go directly, but often it's half as long again because of the tides. So Gertrude, she would have been coping with the tides, with intense cold, with salt, with sharks, and with Portuguese men-of-war jellyfish. And also, once you're in the water, you have to stay hydrated, but no one can touch you, otherwise you get disqualified. So her team took to throwing her flask of beef tea into the water, as isotonic sports drinks had not yet been invented. But unfortunately, most of them just sank to the bottom of the ocean because of all the grease on her hands. Right, so she set off at 6 in the morning on the 6th of August 1926. She hit terrible, terrible weather, but continued, finally arriving in Kent 14 and a half hours later and setting a world record that lasted for 24 years. And she was greeted a hero back in New York City with the first ever ticker tape parade. It was huge. Massive. Over 2 million people came out to celebrate her success, to celebrate an act that was, in a way, a little bit selfish. And I started to think, well, do you have to be a little bit selfish to be that kind of hero? Because I suppose the least selfish person I can think of is my mum, because she's never done anything just for herself. I'm quite selfish. This is my ex, and he was ginger and terrible in the heat. But I used to make us go on holiday to hot places because I like it. And then I wouldn't see him all week because I'd be on the beach, but he'd be hiding under a rock. That relationship didn't work out, but that's irrelevant. So my mum, I decided it was time to force my mum to do something selfish. I decided that she should train to swim across the channel. We'd done it a lot of times when I was growing up, albeit in the family Volvo. My dad would make these sandwiches and we'd eat them on the way down to Dover, and then my mum and grandmother would throw them up in the ferry toilets while my brother was eating fish and chips in the P&O cafe. So we started slowly, and I made my mum train just gently, and I made her drink the water with courage in it. And I said, "How do you feel?" And she said, not courageous. I just feel full of doubt and terrified and depressed and all right, maybe a tiny bit excited. So I wrote those words on the water that we drank during training. And after that, that system really started to work. It's brilliant. Then I said, look, if you're going to be a hero, you have to develop a hero's attitude. You have to just not care what other people think. And she said, well, frankly, I do care. And if the Ealing Synagogue United Ladies Guild find out that I have swum across the channel covered in pig lard, I'm going to be mortified. So we compromised and we scratched out the lard and we used that, which is kosher margarine instead. Right. The other thing is that my mum can't swim, never learnt. She's quite risk averse. She doesn't like the feeling of taking her feet off the bottom in a swimming pool. She feels like she's just going to be swept away into oblivion. I think she feels like that on land as well. But this is the Ealing local Learn to Swim group who really embraced her. Then my mum said, now, this Gertrude, was she actually Jewish? Because I'd been kind of holding her up as like a kindred spirit to spur us along during training. So I did a bit more research beyond Wikipedia, and it turns out she's not Jewish, just German. Which set our training really far back. But it did restore some slightly racist cultural stereotypes I have about Jews and sport. Anyway, then my mum saw this and she said, do I have to do this to be a hero? Is it not enough that I've spent my whole life trying to keep a lovely but fairly difficult family together and that I'm here anytime you need me? And I said, yes, that is enough, but it's not going to get you on Newsnight and you're certainly not going to get a ticker tape parade. And she said that was fine, and would I leave her alone? And maybe she could keep the wetsuit. Because she knows all the books that are in that cabinet. She knows how to bleed that radiator, and she knows not to let my dad leave the house looking like that. She knows how to get fat stains out of clothing and how and when to visit lonely relatives and how to protect people from themselves. Because you can be 5'10" and 12 stone and set a world record that lasts for a quarter of a century. Or you can be 4'10" and 7 stone and quietly be getting on with things in West London. Because at the end of the day, 2/3 of all of us will evaporate when exposed to high temperatures. Thank you. Great. Right, moving on. Can everyone pick up their courageous water? Now, this has been imbuing. Has everyone got one? So what we're going to do is in a second, we're just going to put on a track of music. There's an intro, which you'll probably all recognise, and during the intro, we're just going to gargle together with this, so that we can feel the courage just getting into our system. And then I'll give you a thumbs up when the chorus starts. We'll swallow together, and then we're just going to sing it full of courage. Does that sound all right? Wicked. If you can get the gargling in tune, so much the better. Okay. All right then. Everyone ready? Everyone ready? Okay. Good. Go. Swallow! Hi, everyone. I wish you could swim like dolphins. Like dolphins can swim. Nothing will keep us together. We can beat them forever and ever. Come on, Camden, come be heroes just for one day. Right, here's another dance break, bit more courage. Sounds lovely. Feel the courage and go for it. It's the last chorus. I will be king. It's lovely. And you will be queen. Though nothing will drive them away. We can be heroes just for one day. We can be us. This is it. This is the last bit. Just for one day. Lovely. That was great. Thank you very much.